All right, welcome to the channel. And today we are going to be talking about President Trump was taking questions inside the Oval Office. I believe he was signing executive orders as well. But there was one part of the clip that was particularly interesting. And he is considering sending criminals, not just illegal immigrants, but American citizens, which are convicted criminals, overseas to different prisons. Before we play the clip, if you could, hit that like button, helps get the video out, and consider subscribing. I will be putting out videos daily from now on. So let's get right into the video.
Secretary Rubio announced a deal this week that would allow potentially American citizens for criminals to be put in a different country. Is that something you're looking to do?
No, I didn't know that he announced that yet, but if he did, it's fine, yeah. We have hardened criminals, horrible people. You see him pushing people into subways. The train is coming last week.
We're going to turn now to some breaking news. And just moments ago, police walked a man out of the precinct in Harlem. And they say shoved a woman into the side of a subway train during the morning commute. The 23-year-old victim bounced off the side of an A train that was pulling into the 175th Street station this morning. She was taken to the hospital with some bruising. 26-year-old Marquise Brazelis was arrested at the 181st Street station. He has 2 prior arrests in the subway system.
All right, so I looked into this and I actually found 2 separate incidences. One was last week, was actually a woman, and the second was, I believe the news said it was about a month back, a man. Both people actually survived, which is great for them, but it's sad to see that this is actually happening.
Guy walking around, just sees somebody waiting for the train. Train's coming 40 miles an hour, and he gets pushed into the subway. And that happens all the time. These are sick people. If we could get them out of our country, we have other countries that would take them. It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive, and it would be a great deterrent. Send them to other countries. If we could go a step further, in other words, we're talking about getting the criminals out of our country that come in through other countries illegally, right? The illegal migrants, as I call them. Well, we have people that are just as bad as them in our country. If we could get them out, I'd be very happy to get them.
El Salvador said that he would wanted you to pay a fee for that. Would you pay that?
Well, it's a very small fee compared to what we pay to private prisons.
When I hear about that, the first thing I think of is mental illness. It's not just a random average person out of the blue gets angry, had a bad day at work and just wants to kill somebody. It's somebody who's probably really, really sick, needs help.
But under what authority?
And a very, very small fee. I don't know. We'll have to find that out legally. I'm just saying, if we had the legal right to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I don't know if we do enough.
So the president of El Salvador has offered to take illegal immigrants, but also American criminals, and of course for a fee. Donald Trump is actually considering this.
We're looking at that right now. But we could make deals where we'd get these animals out of our country. And if you take the shooters, the people that hit old ladies in the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that walk down the street, the people that you see it, the people that take out a gun and shoot you for no reason at all. If we could get these animals out of our country and put them in a different country under the supervision of somebody that made a relatively small fee to maintain these people, because you know what? These are criminals. You call them hardened criminals. They've been in jail 40 times. There's one 42 times.
So interesting, 42 times where he just mentioned, and I tried to Google that. I couldn't actually come up with anybody. The first person who came up in the Google search was actually Trump, found guilty on 34 felony counts in New York City, New York hush money. Not going to really comment on any of that. I'm not going to comment on that. I just thought it was interesting that was the first thing that popped up. Now, if you're having 42 convictions or being in prison 42 times, whatever Trump was talking about, it seems to be a problem with the correction system. How does a person get out with that many convictions? What's going on? And if you are going into a correctional facility, are they doing anything? Is it just strict punishment, or are they actually correcting the bad behavior and putting you on the path of doing better?
And every time the person gets out, it's a he Every time he gets out, he commits another crime within 24 hours, and it's a heinous crime. It's a rough crime. We don't want these people in our country either. We don't want them in our country. If we had the option to get them out and let them be based in some other country at a fraction of the cost.
So it costs approximately $42,000 to $43,000 for an inmate a year in America. The average wage in El Salvador is approximately $400 and something. So you can imagine, you can guess, you can assume that they're going to be making a profit off this, and the inmates, whoever is going to get sent over to El Salvador, is obviously not going to be eating too well, not going to be living too well.
And frankly, they could keep them because these people are never going to be any good. That person that has been arrested 42 times or 22 times or 17 times and is all in for manslaughter and everything else and only gets out because of a very weak judicial system that only goes after people like Trump. They don't go after the criminals. They don't go after people like this.
So I wonder where is the line of who you send and who you keep? Because he mentioned quite a few people, from illegal immigrants to a person who hits an old lady over the head with a baseball bat to somebody who pushes somebody on the subway to murderers. So it's really a little bit of everybody. They will have to figure that out, of course, if this actually goes through. But he seems to be all over the place with it. It's a little bit of everybody.
And they laugh at our law. If that took place, you would have a lot less crime automatically.
I think the big question would be, would they even survive? I think that's very doubtful.
On Guantanamo Bay, is there enough space there to accommodate?
There's a lot of space to accommodate a lot of people, yeah, so we're going to use it.
Can you talk a little bit
We have
about
it. It's
why?
already up. We have it for nothing. But we can do less expensive and even more secure. We've had other countries come to us saying, we would love to do that. We would love to take your criminals and we'll maintain that. We'll be their jail. And I'm only talking for the most severe cases.
So he said the most severe cases, and then he's talking about pushing somebody onto a subway. That's absolutely horrible. I mean, it's unthinkable. But that really doesn't pop into my mind as the most severe. I mean, there's serial killers, there's people who hurt women and children and elderly, do some horrible things. So I really don't think of that as the most severe cases. So it should be pretty scary that he's considering some of those crimes to be sending those people over to a place like El Salvador. And if you have ever looked into some of these prisons overseas, who's going to be willing to take them? It's not going to be anyone who's going to treat them very well. And it's very unlikely that they will ever come back. I've looked into quite a few of the overseas prisons, and they are brutal. They make the American prisons look like a 5-star hotel with room service.
I watched that guy on tape pushing the man into the subway last week. That man that did that is a real bad guy. Many, many arrests. And you think you're going to convince him someday to be good and a wonderful citizen for our country? It's never going to happen. I want to get those people out. I'd love to get them out along with the illegal migrants. The migrants are rough, but we have some bad ones too. I'd like to get them out. It would be all subject to the laws of our land, and we're looking at that to see if we can do it.
A legal rate. Yeah, it's interesting. I think Trump is the kind of guy, even if it is he doesn't have the right to do it, he will find a way that he is able to do it. I think a lot of the people should be really scared. If you're a criminal, you might want to be thinking about a new career.
Countries have offered to take American citizens.
Say it.
What other countries have offered to take these Americans?
Numerous, many.
I really wonder if one of those countries was Russia. They would love to get their hands on some American citizens, and I'm guessing it wouldn't go too well. Basically, any country that's willing to take people for profit and punish them is not going to be a good situation.
And Marco brought it up today. I'm glad he did, because a lot of people are thinking it. When I watch some of the crimes being committed in New York City and Chicago, look at Chicago, the volume of crime that they have and the viciousness of the crime. These people are horrible people. And if somebody thinks they're going to be wonderful citizens someday, they're wrong. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're bad. These are hard, tough criminals. In many cases, they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
Really interesting what he said there. They're crazy. He knows they're crazy, which is a mental illness. They're going to need help. Sending them overseas is just going to be a death sentence. It's surprised he's even considering this.
But they're very dangerous. If I could get them out of the country and be in some other country where they're glad to have them because they make a small fee compared to what we'd pay to a private prison or to, put them in one of our prisons that cost even more money, I think it would be great. I'd love to get them the hell out of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, it really seems to come down to money. I know there is part of it that has to do with crime, but it's about saving money, and he's willing to ship people out. It's kind of sad. I do understand his view. Nobody wants criminals around, but this is really a death sentence, sending people overseas. Well, that's it for today's video. Throw a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Consider subscribing. Hit that like button. Like I said, it helps get the video out. Have a great day.